Well, they started this franchise with a $300,000 budget. Might as well end it with a $300,000 budget. Who am I kidding? This film didn't prosper from its 300 grand. Now $1,000,000? That's a different story. Phantasm. Ravager. The fifth installment in a series that hasn't given us much closure on anything, really. But now we are on the fifth installment. Let us see how this one goes. Welcome to day 9 of my Scare Show 3, titled One Last Scare. Let us begin. The plot! Reggie has been on the lookout for Mike, carefully watching out for the tall man around every corner. But now, multiple dimensions and action sequences are abound, and the legacy lives on. Fans have been waiting 18 years for a sequel to Phantasm 4, and I am just so surprised it couldn't get past its supposed $300,000 budget. There is a dedicated fan base for this cult series, and it's just baffling it couldn't even get $1,000,000. Thankfully, this low-budget CG fest is actually entertaining as hell. They could have taken the easy way out, like Part 4, and have half the movie just to be flashbacks and a solid ending that leaves room for another sequel. Unfortunately, they put blood, sweat, and tears into this project, but it still leaves room for a sequel, possibly, depending on how you look at the ending. What I'm about to say does not contain spoilers, but if you've seen this movie, you'd probably understand. The way this movie ends, it could have been perfect because at this point, there were only so many ways to work out of this insane story that is filled with random ideas that has been done in this entire series. But then they pull the rug right out from underneath us and leave room for a sequel with more of the tall man. Again, depending on how you look at the ending. However, there's just one tiny problem. Angus Scrimm died before this movie even came out. So unless they can get an all-new tall man who looks and acts like Angus Scrimm, then I don't see how this is going to work. Maybe they'll be able to create a full-fledged CG tall man with a voice actor in place. That'd be okay and all, but let's not forget it took them 18 years to make another Phantasm movie, and they only managed to come up with 300 grand. CG actors are not easy nor cheap to make. They would need at least a couple of million for production on another Phantasm movie with a CG tall man. But would it even look good? Okay, enough about the ending. Let's talk about the film itself. It is well shot. Most of the special effects are actually pretty good. The acting is solid from everyone, and we even get some guest cameos. The gore, the effects. This is probably the bloodiest Phantasm movie ever. Next to Part 2, probably, maybe even 3. There's tons of skull drilling, exploded heads, and gory gunshots. It is a nasty time overall. And it looks great too. The CGI gore is really well done, especially for a $300,000 budget. The musical score, it's a nice soundtrack with tons of themes from the original movies. Christopher L. Stone did a marvelous job with this score. I think the ending as well as some of the production qualities may turn some people off from this film. I personally love this movie. While not as good as the first, I'd throw it in the bag with 2 and 3 any day. Well, almost as good as 2 and 3. Not quite as good, but pretty close. Overall, it's a solid franchise with 1 superb, 3 great, and 1 decent movie. Speaking of overall I give Phantasm Ravager a 3.5 out of 5. I actually hope that one day we'll get a Phantasm 6, and that it is everything we hope it'll live up to be. I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and to leave comments and subscribe.